The court, the court now is back in session. The floor is given to the deputy co-prosecutor to put more questions to the witness. Question. Thank you, Madam Witness. Before our short break, you told us that the Khmer Rouge cadre came up the house and wanted to tie you up. Is that correct? Answer. Yes, that's correct. Question. Besides the intention to tie you up, did they do anything else? Answer. No, they didn't. Question. Did they interrogate all the people on the house with you? Answer. After they had tidy us up, they interrogated us and asking us how many of us were Khmer and how many of us were Cham. Question. At that time, how many of you gave the answer? And how did you give the answer? And how did the others who were also in the house with you give the answer? President, Madam Witness, please observe your microphone. Witness, after they tie us up, they asked us how many of us were Cham and how many of us were children of mixed marriage. If anyone answered that they were children of mixed marriage, they would put into one group. So at first I gave the answer that I was children of mixed marriage, but later on I felt fearful, so I told them that I was a child of Khmer parents. Question. Can you tell the chamber how many people at that time gave the answer that they were children of Cham, how many gave the answer that they were children of Khmer and mixed marriage? Answer. Those who gave the answer that they were children of mixed marriage, they were taken away. So about 20 so out of 30 people in the house, 20 were taken away to be killed. Question. So can you be more specific as to how many people were there all together in the house? Was it just only your group, or were there any other groups also sent to that house? Answer. No, there were no people from any other group. There were people only from my group who were detained in that house. So my groups, which consisted of 30 people when we arrived, we were detained in that house. There were no one else in that house. Question. If time allowed, I would come back to revisit this point. So you mentioned that some of the people in your group told the Khmer Rouge cadre that they were children of Khmer. Some answered that they were children of Cham. Some said they were children of mixed marriage. So what happened next after they gave the answer to the Khmer Rouge? Answer. After they gave the answer, those who were taken away were told that they would be taken to eat somewhere else, and I had no knowledge of what happened next to them. Question. So among those who gave the answer that they were children of Khmer, and those who said that they were children of mixed marriage, so where did these two group of people sent to? Answer. Those who gave the answer that they were Cham or children of mixed marriage, they were taken away to be killed. And about 10 of us who left, we told them that we were children of Khmer. So they kept us. They took away only Cham. Question. How did you know that those who answered that they were Cham or children of mixed marriage were taken away to be killed? President. Madam Witness, please hold on, because the chamber now give the floor to Counsel Victor Kope.
Thank you, Mr. President. I object to this question. It is indeed true that the witness speaks about taken away to be killed. She actually said that a few times. I imagine she uses those words because that's what she thinks happened to them. However, in the previous answer, she says literally, quote, I had no knowledge what happened next to the group that said that they were either Cham or of mixed marriage origin. So, although she said it at one point, she also specifically says that she has no knowledge as to what happened next. So, I think that should be incorporated in the question that was just asked by the prosecution.
Co-prosecutor, Mr. President, I just asked a question about what happened to those who answered that they were Cham and those who answered that they were Khmer or children of mixed marriage. She gave the answer that those who gave the answer that they were Cham or children of mixed marriage were taken away to be killed. And based on her answer, I asked her, how did she know that those who answered that they were Cham or children of mixed marriage were taken away to be killed? President, co-prosecutor can ask this question. So the witness, please give your answer to the question if you can. President, National Deputy Co-Prosecutor, please put your question to the witness again, and please make sure that your question is short and precise to be able to finish your question within the time frame that the court gives to you. Co-Prosecutor, thank you, Mr. President. Madam Witness, You you have just mentioned that those who were charmed or children of mixed marriage were taken away to be killed. I would like you to tell the court how did you know that those people were taken away to be killed? Answer. We were in the same house, and when those people were taken away, we saw them through the holes of the wall, and we saw them taken away. Question. Regarding the killing, before the killing took place, did the Khmer Rouge cadre do something else to the Cham people or children of mixed marriage?
I understand that the prosecution likes the word killing, but she didn't say that. She just said that they left and she saw them taken away. She didn't add the word killing or killed afterwards. So please don't be suggestive, Mr. Prosecutor.
Co-prosecutor, Madam Witness, could you clarify that the Cham people and children of mixed marriage, you said that those people were taken away to be killed. So is that your answer? Answer. Yes, I gave the answer like that. So when you answered like that, it means that they were taken away to be killed or what? President, Madam Witness, you don't have to give your answer to this question. Co-prosecutor, you need to put your question in a different way. For example, how how far how did the witness can see those people taken away, through what way, how far was he away from those people who were taken away? So this should be the ways of putting the questions. Co-prosecutor, Mr. President, because the defense counsel raised this matter, that's why I would like to be more specific about this, about the killing.
In fact, the witness already responded to your question. Question, Madam Witness, I have another question to put to you. From the house where you were detained, how far was it from the location where those people were killed? And can you also tell the chamber whether those people were killed at night time and how could you see them being killed? Answer. It was at night time, however I did not have a watch to refer to. When they were taken out of the house, they were taken to a pit about 8 meters from the house and they were killed in that pit. And there was a big tamarind tree near the pit, and there were a few small tamarind trees also near the pit, and I could see clearly the event unfolded. Question, Madam, this may be my last question to you. After they executed the Cham people, what happened to your group who answered that you were Khmer? Answer. After they killed those people, our group, there were about 10 of us, were given a bowl of gruel each. Mr. President, I have no further question. I'd like to give the floor to my international counterpart, President, International Co-Prosecutor. You may proceed.
Thank you. Madam Witness, you said you were taken to this house with about 30 people, 30 women or girls. Were all of these people from one area or from different areas?
Answer. We came from the same area.
And what village or area was that?
Answer. From Ksach Prachesh Skandal village, Krochma commune, Krochma district, Kampong Cham province. So only my group, not any other groups.
So in that group, did you know, were you familiar with the other 30 girls, some or all of them?
Answer. I would like you to clarify your question, whether you ask me whether I am familiar with the accused or with the victims.
I'm asking about the other 30, the other 29 or so women and girls that went with you to that house in Treya 2 village in the incident you just talked about. Did you know, scold in that sense, or did you know them prior to arriving at that house?
President, Madam Witness, please hold on. The chamber gives the floor to Defense Counsel Kung Som-on. You may now proceed. Counsel, I'm not quite clear about what the witness said, that there were 30 girls. I did not hear I did not hear that she said like that. So this figure came from what the co-prosecutor said.
Madam Witness, I'll repeat the question. The question was the 30 girls or women that you arrived with. You testified you came with 30 girls or women in your group. Did you know them in the sense of being familiar with them? Having met them before?
Answer. We lived in the same mobile unit, and some of 30 of us, some were my relatives. So they were all people who were familiar to me. They were not strangers. They were from my village, that is Ksach Prachesh Kandal, Krochma commune.
That they were Cham, or that they were of mixed blood that night in that house in Treya 2. Have you ever seen them again alive?
As I told you, that the situation was at that time was scary, so I was so fearful, and I just tried to give the answer in a way that I can save my life, because those who gave the answer that they were Cham or children of mixed marriage were taken away. So I gave the answer that I was Khmer in order to save my life.
Okay, Madam Witness, I understand that. Thank you. But please listen to the question. This is not what I was asking you. All I want to know from you is the girls or women that did say that they were Cham or said that they were mixed blood. Have you ever seen them again up to today since that night in Treya 2 village?
No, I did not see them again because they were killed into the pits.
Thank you. Now, you said that you looked out through the walls. Can you explain exactly how you were able to look out and see outside the house when you were inside the house?
There was a window, and I could see outside through the holes of the window, and they ordered those people to stand close to the pits, and they were killed and fell down into the pits. That was what I witnessed.
Okay, thank you. Now, I want you to just, if I could ask you, I know it's not a good memory. Can you just tell us what you remember about what you actually saw in as much detail as you remember today? That night when you looked out through the holes in the window, what did you see? And what, if anything, did you hear?
I heard the screams that not to please not to rape me, but I did not see the raping incident, but I only heard the scream that please don't rape me.
Now, you talked about pits. Did you actually, could you see the pits in the darkness?
At that time, it was a full moon night, so I could see. And there were no trees blocking my view, so I could see the pits clearly.
Now, after that night, did anyone else arrive at the house?
After that, I spent only 24 hours there, and then I left to the area east of it, and I did not return back to that area because I was detained in the house in another area.
Thank you. But during the 24 hours when you were still at the house, my question is, if you saw any other people, groups of detained persons, arrive at the house? If not, just say so. Did you see anyone else arrive at the house?
The house where I stayed, they did not put in any other people, but they they sent in some people and kept in front of the house, but not in my house. And I did not know where those people who were kept in front of my house sent to next.
This house that in Treya 2 village that you were taken to, can you describe it at all? Can you tell us where it was in relation to the river, for example?
When I was detained there, it was about 8 meters from the rivers, and the pits were about 100 meters away. Now that areas has already fallen into the river.
So that night, just to clarify one thing, when you looked out through the window, you saw people, you saw pits. Did you actually see the people killed or not? Did you see anyone killed or not? The actual act of killing.
Yes, I witnessed the event, but I was a little bit far from the pits. I looked out and saw it through the window's hole.
What do you recall seeing? If you can tell us what you saw.
I saw them falling into the pits. The pit was big, but it was shallow. And I did not dare to approach the pit because I myself was still tied up.
Who was in charge at that house? Do you know?
Ho was in charge.
Can you tell us anything about Ho, who he was?
I didn't know from which village Ho came. However, I saw him there. He was in charge of that house.
How did you know his name was Ho?
I heard his peer called him by that name, and from my understanding, he was chief of the district.
Can you tell us anything about what he looked like back at that time? Can you describe him a little bit?
He was tall and had a broad, bold forehead and a rather long face.
Now, when you began your testimony, you talked about a plan to kill the Cham. Why did you say there was a plan to kill all the Cham?
I did not know about that, and I was wondering why they took the Cham people away and killed them. I still have no answer for that.
Well, do you know, were any Cham people that you knew killed during the Democratic Kampuchea regime, that is the Khmer Rouge regime, from April 1975 until the Vietnamese came to your area at the end of 1978? Do you know of any people that you knew who were killed?
No, I did not.
Did your father survive the regime?
All the members of the family were taken away and killed.
Well, how many people are that? Can you tell us who they were? Was it your father, any of your brothers or sisters? Can you explain to us who it was from your family that you lost during the regime?
There were 8 family members. I lost 6 siblings, then my father and my mother. So there were 8 of them, and 2 of my elder daughters were pregnant.
What happened to your elder daughters? Did they survive the regime?
Interpreter correction, the elder sisters. Whom are you refer to?
Sorry, that was a small translation problem. Your elder sisters, you said 2 were pregnant. Did they survive to give birth or not?
They were taken away and killed.
You said that you had gone to school. What kind of a school was it? Was it Islamic school?
Which school are you referring to?
When my colleague read out your answer, you said you were in school before the Khmer Rouge came. So let me just ask you, did you have any education in your village?
I did. I went to school when I was 14 years old. And my siblings were taken away and killed. And I was not allowed to study anymore when I was 14 years old.
Can you tell us, if you remember, was your teacher Cham?
No. My teacher was Khmer and we studied Khmer.
Did anyone teach you how to pray, or teach you Arabic or how to pray in the Cham language?
Yes, I was. However, in fact, it was my parents who taught us Islamic religion. And when I went to school, I studied the Khmer language.
Thank you. Did you have a hakim that you knew in your village?
Yes.
Your hakim survived the regime.
However, Hakim was taken away and killed, and his name was San.
Now, in that group of girls and women that were brought to the house in Treya II, to your knowledge, were any of them planning to kill Pol Pot or capture Phnom Penh to overthrow the Khmer Rouge regime?
No, there wasn't, and I didn't know for what reason they were taken away and killed.
How about your parents and your siblings? Do you know if they had plans to kill Pol Pot and the other leaders or to overthrow the Khmer Rouge regime?
Of course, there wasn't any. We did not have any such plan, and they were taken away and killed.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honors. I believe we owe the rest of the time to the civil parties, so I will stop my questions now.
President, thank you. And the chamber now hands the floor to the lead co-lawyers for civil parties to put question to this witness. You may proceed. Mr. President, we would like to designate Counsel Largentine to put questions to this witness. President, yes, Largentine, you may proceed. Council for Civil Parties. Thank you, Mr. President. Good morning, everyone in and around the courtroom. My name is Largentine. I am a lawyer for civil parties, and I have some questions to put to the witness regarding the events that happened between 1975 to 1979. And Madam Witness, in 1975, which village were you living in? Answer: I was living in Ksai Prachakandal, Krochma Commune, Krochma District. However, my husband was from Trier village. Thank you. Question: in the village that you were living in, were all villagers Cham? It was a mixed Cham and other ethnicities living there. Answer: there were not many Cham living in that village. The majority was Khmer people, and in my area, only our family was Cham, and the rest were all Khmer. Question: my question to you is that while you were living in that village, were there many Cham people living there too? Answer: after I came out from the forest, I cannot tell you what year it was, and people who were evacuated to live in the village were all Khmer. Question: allow me to put it another way. When the Khmer rules evacuated your family out to which village and commune that you were evacuated to? Answer. We were evacuated to Krochma Kraum. I meant my parents and my siblings. We were all evacuated to Krochma Kraum. Question. When you were evacuated, did they put men and women in separate groups, or there was no division between male and female? Answer. When we were evacuated there, we were allowed to live as a family, but I myself was assigned to work and lived in a mobile unit. And for older people, they were allowed to live in the house. Question. During the course of the evacuation, were all your family members sent at one time, or were male members sent first? Answer. We were all sent. However, when we were relocated back to our village, then we were put in separate groups where we were told that men would build houses for women. However, during the first evacuation, family members were allowed to stay in the family, while youths like myself were assigned to work in a mobile unit. But for older people like grandparents, they would allow to stay in the family. And only when we were returned to the village, when we were told that men built model houses for us, then we were divided into male and female groups. And later on, of course, I was sent to Trier village. Thank you. Question. You said men were sent to build model houses. Where were they sent to build those so-called model houses? Answer. I did not know about that. We were simply told about it, and men were sent on the first day, and on the second day the women were sent, and the third group was sent on the third day, and I did not know whether men actually built model houses. Question. You stated that on the first day men were taken away, and on the second day women with children were sent away, and for you and the rest were sent away on the third day to Trier village. When the men were sent away, did you know how they were sent away? Were they put on ox carts, or were they sent on foot? What was your observation? Answer. When men were taken away, in fact they were being walked in the direction of Krochma. That's all I knew, and of course I did not follow them. Question. And for the second day, you stated that women were sent away. Those women with children, where were they sent to? Answer. they were sent to gather up in front of the Sakprachakanda pagoda, and later on they were put on boats, and I did not know where they were taken through on those boats. Question. In the interest of time, I move to another topic. On the third day, you yourself were sent away. How many of you were sent at that time? And from which area were you sent? And how long did the trip take, and by what means? Answer. We were in the mobile unit, and we were asked to line up and to walk to Trier village, and it took us a bit more than an hour to reach the village. Thank you. Question. How many of you and what was their age range? Were they about your age, or were they younger or older than you? Answer. Most of the people in the group were older than me. In fact, I was the youngest member of the group. Thank you. Question. And upon your arrival in Trier village, why did you know, or how did you know that the village was called Trier? Answer. In fact, I knew Trier village because it was an adjacent village to Ksaya Prochakandal, and it was in Krochma commune and Krochma district. Question. You haven't responded to my question yet when I asked how many of you were sent at that time. Answer. There were more than 30 of us who were sent. I cannot recall the exact number as it happened a long time ago. There were about 35 or 36 of us. Question. And upon your arrival, were you put into one single house, or were they divided into different groups and placed in different houses? Answer. No, we were not divided up into smaller groups. The whole group was placed into that detention house. And only later on, as I testified, they divided us when those people were taken off the house and killed, while my group remained on the house. Thank you. Question. When you arrived at that house, what was your observation regarding the house? Was there any particular things that caught your eyes? Answer. You said that were there any particular things of the house, or what are you trying to refer to? Question. Allow me to put it this way. When you went up to the house, Did you notice anything on the wall of the house? For instance, were there any instruments or tools hanging on the wall? Answer. At the house where we were detained, there wasn't any. However, next to the house where we were detained, there were a group of soldiers who were sharpening their knives. Question. You said they were sharpening their knives. At that time, had you all been tied up? Answer. We were walked from Ksaya Prachakanda to Trier village. We were instructed to go up that house, and in late afternoon, they were sharpening their knives, and when the sun was about to set, then they tied us up. So allow me to clarify, they sharpened the knives first and later on they tied us up. Question. Did you hear the sound of knives being sharpened, or did you see them sharpening their knives? And if that is the case, what kind of knives they were? Answer. I saw them clearly sharpening their knives. I saw them through the door of the house. The knives was a kind of knife that used for the rubber tree. I saw them sharpening the knives with my own eyes when I watched them through the door. They were sharpening their knives in another house next to the house where we were. Question. Another important thing that I'd like to put to you regarding the knives. The Khmer Rouge cadres who went up the house to tie your group, how many of them? Answer. In fact, there was a woman who went up the house with strips of cloth, and later on 3 men came up at the house, and there were many more under the house. Of course, I could not see them clearly. However, there were several of them under the house with guns. Question. So it means that there were 4 of them who went up the house, and amongst the 4 there was a woman. Is that correct? Answer. Yes. Question. After they tied you up, what did they do next? Question. After they tied us up, they shouted whether every one of us was tied up, as I testified a while ago. And as I said, I was afraid of being tortured, so I said that I was not yet tied up, and they said I was a good girl. And of course, I would not dare to say I was not tied up because I saw several guns, and I was afraid. Questioned. After they tied you all up and they asked your group who were Cham and who were Khmer, I want to ask whether the person or persons who ask about that write or take any note? Answer. I saw them carrying a pen and a notebook, but I did not know whether they wrote it down when they asked us who was Khmer and who was Cham. They actually asked how many Cham were in our group and how many Khmer were, or whether there was mixed blood. These were the questions that they asked us, and after that, they took those people, one or two at a time, of the house, as I testified earlier. Council interrupts. Allow me to interrupt, Madam, in the interest of time. When the Khmer Rouge cadres who went up to the house, did you know any of them? Answer. I did not know the woman, and the only person I know was Ho. He was in charge of the area. Question. Does it mean that the Ho actually went after the house? Answer. Yes, Taho went up the house. Question. You said that you witnessed the killing. My question to you is the following. How was the killing carried out? Can you please describe the act of that killing that you witnessed? Answer. I repeat myself here. So we were detained in the house, and at the time, one or two were taken out of the house to go for a meal, but in fact they were sent to be killed. And I saw the killing when I looked through the crack of the wall. The pit was pretty large, and they placed a wooden plank near the pit, and the people were asked to bend their head. Then they cut beheaded them, and they fell into the pit. There was full moon at the time, and I saw the event unfolded clearly. Thank you. My question to you is the following. You said you witnessed the killing. Did the rest of the group on the house also witness the killing? Answer. I cannot tell you whether everyone on the house saw the killing. I could only say about myself because I had a look through the crack of the wall. Question. Among the 30 or so people in that group, you said you knew Nosata. Was Nosata next to you when you were on the house? Answer. No such task was in my group, but I cannot tell you where she was, whether she was in front of me, behind me, or to the left or to the side, to the right of my side. I cannot tell you. Question. And after you witness the event, what happened next morning? Answer. Next morning, we were taken from off the Tansen house and placed in another house to the east. And that morning, they actually killed a pig and instructed us to eat. However, I could not eat the pork, but I only took the soup and the vegetable. Question. So, as you testified, the next morning they killed a pig for your group to eat. Did they say anything to you when they did that? Answer. I did not hear them say anything. Question. This is my last question, Mr. President. Madam Witness, you stated that all your family members were killed. Can you tell the chamber about your feeling at present time concerning the loss of your family members? Answer. I, of course, feel much pain, but I could not do anything, and I had to turn to religion. If their faith, if that was the end of their faith, I could not have it. I could not do anything. Of course, I felt much great pain for my parents and for my pregnant elder sisters. Counsel, thank you, Madam Witness, and thank you, Mr. President. President, thank you. It is now appropriate for our lunch break. We take a break now and resume at 1:30 this afternoon to continue our proceedings. Court officer, please assist the witness at the waiting room reserved for witnesses and your parties during the lunch break and invite her back into the courtroom at 1:30. Security personnel are instructed to take Kyu Sampon to the waiting room downstairs and have him return to attend to the proceedings this afternoon before 1:30. The court is now in recess.